Hello and welcome to week 4. For week 4, your week at a glance shows that we'll move through the video onto the reading assignments. You've got in your review section some additional library instruction for Write 1060, your project number 1 handout, and a sample project for you. In addition, you've got your due section, which is your project number 1 rough draft, which we'll talk about in just a minute, and your peer review for the project number 1 rough draft. As you move into your reading assignments for this week, this particular screenshot doesn't show you all of the reading assignments for this week, but as you've been accustomed to over the last couple of weeks, you'll move through those sections. What you need to read for the week is outlined in those red boxes, and additionally, you'll note that there are segments of that. So, for example, in modes of persuasion, you'll read through ethos, pathos, logos, modes of persuasion, activity, etc. And these will be very helpful to you as you begin to draft project number 1. All right, you also have a little bit more information. Our librarian for the semester, the one that our class has been assigned to, has provided some additional information in a video. Just like with the library modules, you will be pushed to eSpace and you'll log in using your net ID and password. And then you've got the handout for your project number 1 rhetorical analysis. This time you're going to select one article from your annotated bibliography and you're going to rhetorically analyze it. This means that you're going to look at how the writer used rhetorical appeals like ethos, pathos, and logos, organizational strategies, word choice, specific experts in the field, which would align with ethos to support his or her or their argument. You can look at diction, sentence structure. You can look at the use of various maybe aspects of a study, but ultimately you're going to think about how the writer put this together, what made his, her, or their argument effective, and that's really what your argument is. Has the writer been effective in persuading his, her, or their audience using the rhetorical appeals and various other strategies to make his or her or their point? All right, so then you're moving through, you're thinking of analysis of the style of the article. You want to select several elements within the work and examine them carefully. And of course, as noted just a minute ago, these are representative of the writer's style. So you're not going to simply summarize or paraphrase the article. So you're not going to retell what the writer told his or her or their readers in the course of that article, and you don't want to develop an argument based on the claim of the author or authors. What you do want to do, though, is consider what that writer has used effectively, and you'll move through the body paragraphs outlining those. So, for example, in one of your body paragraphs could be the use of ethos and how the author used it, examples from the text that showed the use of ethos or the development of ethos, the effectiveness of ethos, and then you're going to include with why that particular strategy helped the author prove his or her claim. So again, you're thinking through almost like what we call a quote sandwich, where you've got the rhetorical appeal, for example, an example of that rhetorical appeal from the text, and why the use of that rhetorical appeal makes an effective argument. And you'll move through again the rhetorical appeals, or you can use other aspects of style like organization, sentence structure, word choice, etc. So you want to think through how this will look. Remember to incorporate in your introduction the author, the title, and the date of the work. And you've got an example of this. So I urge you, before you start to write your draft, to look through the previous a previous student's exemplar of how to set up a rhetorical analysis. And then you'll upload your rough draft. Remember, if you choose to upload a Word document or a PDF, no problem. But if you do choose to share a link to, for example, a Google Doc or a OneDrive doc, you do need to make sure that the share settings are anyone with the link can view. And then you're going to participate in a peer review forum. You'll attach your rough draft to a forum post, and then you're going to locate and read one classmate's essay, and you'll reply to that student by answering the 11 questions listed below. Some are on their structure and organization, so your fellow classmate's structure and organization is he or she put that paper together. And the second part of that is an analysis of the style. So you're going to want to make sure that your fellow classmate is sticking to what he or she should be doing when rhetorically analyzing an article. So you can either copy and paste these questions into a forum reply and answer below them. You can just answer the questions. You can do it on a separate Word document and upload that for your classmate. But again, you're uploading your draft, you're locating one classmate's essay and answering the questions. Now, I encourage you please to look for classmates who have not received a peer review. This makes sure that all of our class receives a peer review in the process. So if you get on and you notice that a couple of classmates have already received a peer review, move to a classmate who has not, so that we can kind of share the wealth through this process. All right, and then as always, if you have any questions, let me know. Have a great week.